It is ahead of the game. Ryan Tucker, Sports Tuck takes. I can't even pronounce my own name. Sports Pez Jez, buddy, we're back.
Yes, we are back on track. It was nice without you, but I'm glad you're back, mate.
It was great. Josh did a great job and got the most views of any of the videos so far. It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. You need to take that into consideration. We'll see how this one goes, and you might have the arse already. We'll
Yeah,
see.
maybe have to dye my orange to a black or a dark
Yeah,
brown.
yeah.
Be
It's
part of the
because you're a
darks.
ranger. That's the reason. That's why we're not getting any views. No one watches rangers on TV.
No, no. Maybe they can't even see me. Don't they say it's redheads don't have souls? So maybe they're just
Yeah,
not
something like
showing
that.
up.
You're just a blur.
All right, man. Shit that's happened.
Mm.
AFL, NRL, some pretty big rounds there. We can go through, take out the biggest storylines, and then I have a cracker for GPT KO this week.
Yeah, I don't even
It's
know
gonna be
what it
good.
is. You haven't even shared it with me. I'm going
No,
in blind into this, but I like it that way. It gets the better reaction. It's more
yeah,
real.
yeah.
I
I love
love
it.
it.
I
I
love it.
love Mondays.
All right. So first up, we can actually tip.
Mm. Mm.
We've been speaking for a few weeks about our tipping results over at bets.com.au, where we're
Mm.
both sports writers, and well,
Mm.
now we can call ourselves sports writers because we actually did a
No.
really good job this weekend.
Well, now we're sports tipsters, I think, this week at least, not just writers. I think we've been upgraded. I was a tipster the
Uh,
first week, and then but anyway, we're looking now at last week, and we cranked it. We were on the ball.
yeah, I think I went
Mm.
6 of 8 for my tips on AFL Sunday. And
Mm.
one of the ones I missed out on was a ladders on Josh Tracy's goals. And
Yeah,
and you said like he had 3 in the first quarter, right, or 3 in the first
yeah,
half, and then didn't score
yeah.
again, but in a thrashing. And then the other one,
Mm.
I had Sheasel to no, what did I have? Who else played? It was this is great content.
So good, so good. You can't even remember what tips you had. You should have just
Um,
stuck with that. You went 6 from 8.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No, it was Sheasel. He was for North
yeah,
Melbourne. He was the
yeah.
I had him to get 30 plus disposals, and he couldn't crack it, couldn't handle it. But
They
a
didn't
great
play
weekend,
enough
which
defense, or what?
yeah,
He plays
well,
out of the back
probably.
line, old Sheasel. Not enough ball down there. North Melbourne are too good these days for him to get 30 disposals.
No, they still got
Maybe.
their asses handed to them though. But
Yeah,
what
still, I guess.
which game was best for you in any of the codes?
It was also AFL Saturday was a good AFL weekend. I went 6 from 8 as well. No, 5 from 7.
Hmm.
6 from 7. 6 from 7. The only thing I didn't get was the over and the under in. Also struggling to remember what the fixtures were. Pull them up. Bad start.
Lions Cats I had must have been, was it Saints and Richmond or Melbourne Gold Coast?
It was Melbourne Gold Coast, I think. Oh no, it was Saints Richmond. I had the over, and it went under
Mm. Oh, must
because
not have been by
Richmond.
much, right?
Mm, so because the
Still
Suns,
188.
yeah, I don't know, can't remember.
Yeah.
You don't only
Anyway,
you don't remember your wins. We pick the right winners.
exactly. So just to remind anyone that's watching, bets.com.au, we both write there for AFL, NRL, Formula One, supercars. There's heaps of stuff over that site. Check it out. All free
Mm,
for you to peruse and get your best tips and best odds for a multitude of sports. But speaking of the AFL, Jez, there were some pretty interesting results.
mm,
If we start off on the Thursday matchup, Essendon and Port Adelaide, we've been speaking about Port for a while, about
mm.
them not really kind of living up to the expectations this season. And once again, they just were not good enough.
No, no. They started off like it felt like they were in control at the start, and in the first half, and then they just stopped doing what was working. I always struggle to say his name. I'm so bad at names, but Georgiadis. Is that right?
Mm,
Georgiadis.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. It took me 4 goes in the video to say that name, but but like they were just going to him, and he was the center of everything. And then Essendon found a way to sort of shut it out a little bit. But I think the when he's hot, I think you still got to keep going there. You still got to. He was finding a way. He was the difference for Port Adelaide, and then he also was like, I think he was on 2-2 in the first quarter or the first half, and then he finished on 2-2. So he didn't have another shot at goal. So you've got to find a way to get those players that are producing for you, that are making the difference in the game if they're starting to get shut down. And they didn't do that. And it is the same. It's just Port Adelaide. It seems like when they're in a fight like this, they just can't. They can't step up. They smash the teams that are rubbish, and they struggle against teams that are good. And then if they get put up in a fight, they start missing shots and just go way off a game plan that they have. Which I don't know. Yeah. What do you put it down to? Coaching. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's Hinkley's last year, so if they're good next year, then we know it's the coach. But Carlton once again lost. I don't think we have to dwell too much on them. They'll probably turn it around some way through the season and win 8 in a row and be there. But the Suns.
But did
you want something with Carlton?
Suns. No, I just think it's crazy with Carlton that they're in the lead in games and they blow it. But that's what's
Carlton,
worrying. Yeah, Carlton. But the Suns, let's talk about the Suns. They're away specialists. That was the headline at Bets. Away specialists, the Suns. They've won 3 in a row now. It's 4 in a row away from home. It took them until, I think it was round 22, I want to say, last year to get their first away win. And now they haven't lost since then, away from home. So
and now they're playing at home this weekend. They're going to lose.
And, probably. That'll
be
the new trend.
Dominant display, and they were so good on the ball. Like they were just, there was like so few mistakes, and up against a quality team like Melbourne as well, with such a star-studded roster, you don't expect another team to be that good, and especially the Suns. Like, I mean, we tipped them obviously to be that good, but it's great.
They've been building since Hardwick was there. I think he came in. There was the expectation they were on the cusp, but like having a new coach, and it's such a different style of play than what they had 2 years ago. Now everything is exactly like you said. They're slick on the ball. It's the short handballs. It's Hardwick football. That's how he's won premierships, is by being and it is this sort of new style of play. It's a little bit like Hawthorn. They do the same type of thing. Everything's sort of quick and through the hands and moving the ball with short passes and short handballs, instead of sort of just pounding it down and working the sides. They'll go through the middle. If the middle's open, they go through the middle. And it's like Noah Anderson, man. Like he's becoming one of the premium players. If the Gold Coast go far and say finish close to top 4, he's definitely going to be there when it comes Brownlow time, because he's just everywhere. He's so slick, and he just can like get a disposal from a disposal that's advantageous, that puts guys in better positions to move the ball down the field from nothing. When he's being compressed, it's just somehow goes out at the right angle to the right guy, and then they just run straight off that. Like there's
no stat that can measure that either. Like how watching the same game and also plays in other games where he's like, how did that ball get out first and foremost from that spot, but then also hit the guy running the other direction in the breadbasket without him breaking stride, so that he could then deliver it to the next guy. And it's such an underrated talent to be able to produce that more often than not. And it's fantastic to see. Saints once again scored 135 points. Our Saints are so up and down. I cannot believe that team. But I think one of the biggest games out of the weekend was Hawthorn and the Giants down at Utah's, and the wind that really kind of dictated the scoring there. We were speaking just before getting on air about how the Hawks didn't look like they were going to take advantage of the wind in the second quarter there, and then all of a sudden they just bang, 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 and they hit the lead going into half time.
Yeah, it was like they had chances. It just felt like the commentators were saying it's like a 5 or 6 goal wind advantage, which is crazy. But they said that they called that at the start of the quarter and of the first quarter, and I think the Giants put 36 points on or something in there.
37.
It was pretty close to the 37 in the first quarter. So it was like they were spot on, and then Hawthorn come out and they missed their chances. Like they were just missing kicks and spraying kicks and stuff like that. And it was just, but then the last 10 minutes or the last even sort of 5-10 minutes of that quarter, they just powered home. And then they did the miracle and stopped GWS in the third quarter. So,
it's
but
interesting
just
looking at the numbers here. You see, it was 9 scoring shots to 2 in the first quarter in favour of the Giants, and then it was 14 to 2 in the second quarter to the Hawks, and then it kind of just stopped. Well, the Hawks kicked 4 goals, actually 4 goals 2 in the third quarter to the Giants, 2 goals 1. And then again, the Giants only had 2 scores in the fourth quarter, 2 goals, but only two scoring shots. And the Hawks didn't kick another goal in the fourth quarter. They just kicked 4 behinds, but it was enough. They just had to stop GWS from scoring, and that's what they did. But Hawks, man, flying high. Fly, you Hawks, fly. It's a Hawks year. Illawarra Hawks, Hawthorn Hawks.
But it's
Philly
like
Eagles.
You got it. Yeah, close. Eagles, Hawks. But you got to put it down. I think, everyone's talking like Sam Mitchell, like what has he done? You've got to put that win goes down to him, I think, because whatever they did, they had that small lead going into the third quarter, and he just turned it into like a defensive game. For the Giants to go from, say they're kicking 10 scoring shots, both teams average 10, 11 in their first quarters, and then they kick 6 or something scoring shots in the third quarter, like that, to be able to change the tactics of the game and play that defensive football that's actually going to work when you had the chance to sit down with you guys and go, all right, this is how the game's going. This is what we couldn't do in the first quarter to stop them. This is what we got to do now. Like, that's massive. And then for the players to be able to execute it, a young group, you've got to go, you basically reset your whole, what you thought was going to work defensively. You got to reset all of that in the third quarter because it was dog shit in the first. Like, to be able to do that and execute that and have the group believe in you, like, it makes Hawthorn even more dangerous than I thought they were at the start of the year. Because like we've said with Port and stuff, they get pressure and fall apart. The Hawks were in the game, they were in the lead. It's not that same pressure, but you've still got to do something to break the game. And they just always seem to find a way at the moment to turn a tight game into their advantage. And really, really hard to do that under those conditions and against GWS, who are a quality club, and pull it off. Like, do the Hawks go undefeated all year?
No, definitely not. But but they're really.
What the fuck? You were quick to jump on that. What do you mean?
No one can go undefeated in the AFL. It's impossible. It's impossible.
All right.
You have to be so injuries. So much.
Tag this in the stream now. Let's tag this in the stream now. Maybe they go undefeated. They'll lose this week.
Exactly. They'll lose to North Melbourne or to West Coast. Will get their first win of the season against. Dockers also won. Adelaide thrashed North Melbourne, but that's enough AFL. Excuse me. NRL. Panthers bounced again. Titans, another Gold Coast team. 2 Gold Coast teams winning on the same weekend hasn't happened also for an extreme amount of time. But in the NRL, Panthers, Roosters and Storm all lost, and it's the first time that's happened since 2016, seen on Instagram from Rando. That's massive. Just kind of shows you how dominant those 3 teams have been the last 10 years, and all of a sudden they're not anymore. But great efforts from those teams that they got up there. The Broncos, were they really ever troubled by the Dolphins? I don't think so. They looked in control the whole time. The Dragons they're a surprise packet. The veterans, Gutho, Val Holmes. Like, I was one of the main proponents of saying this is not going to work. They're old. Their best days are behind them. I don't really, rate Flano as a coach, but mate, they're showing us
that's a big call.
Yeah, I mean, they're killing it. They just beat the Storm.
Yeah. But it is, like we talked about it with Josh on Friday, that there is the Flano Bellamy stat. Now it's
you
what?
called it
It's so that's
5
that's
of the last
huge.
6 or
Yeah, I think it was 4 of 6. So now he's won 5 of 7 against Bellamy. So
mental.
that's it is mental. It's that's mental. And yeah, the Storm had a few outs, but I think
Yeah,
it
but still,
proves also with the Storm, Jerome Hughes, man, when he's not there,
so
it's
important.
it's too important. It's that
Yeah.
game manager. It's happening with the Panthers now as well. You put them back, everything's back to normal. There's no reason to be worried about it, but nice to pull their pants down when you get the chance.
Yeah, definitely. Cowboys got their first win of the season against a hapless Raiders team. They again, we spoke about this. Raiders, they're professionals of building up confidence and looking
Yeah.
like they're going to destroy the competition, and then they lose to the worst teams in the comp. So they'll
Yeah,
probably
the
finish
Dallas
ninth
Cowboys
again.
of the NRL.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doggies keep producing without their star players. No Burton, no Kickow. Mate, they're and
What's your
against the
call? Have you
a
got?
good
What's your
Sharks
take?
team.
Give
I
me your
had
take on
Bulldogs
the
to miss the
Bulldogs.
8. I
Yeah.
think I'm going to have to retract that because
Yeah.
they're going to have to severely hemorrhage losses going forward to miss the 8 now after starting undefeated. So, well, are they undefeated? Yeah, 4-0, right? Leading the comp. So, and the other one I had was the Eels were going to be good, and they got done again by the Sea Eagles. So, I think Parramatta, and it's just I watched Zach Lomax in that game. He just looked disinterested. Like there was a play, I think it was, I don't know whether they kicked down into the Manly 10-meter zone, and the ball, the runner ran past him on the other side of the field, and he just walked back to the defensive line. And it's like, it's the 4th round of the season, and you're at a new club, and you're one of the most high paid players in the club and one of the most experienced, and you're walking back to the defensive line and you're losing. Like, what? Didn't really fill me with a lot of confidence. So
yeah, the Eels are in trouble. Like, it's even hasn't Zach Lomax made some bad life decisions. Like, you're gonna go from the Dragons and then you go to the Eels they're gonna be scraping at the bottom for a while. You sort of feel, but they're also a team. Bring Mitch Moses back in eventually, then you can start talking about what team they are. But the season's going to already be gone, and yeah, like you said, dropping ahead this early in the season and not trying to pep the boys. The difference, and it's like almost the clean swap there, is like Gutho. You saw a couple of weeks ago when the Dragons were down. Gutho was in and he's like going off at the boys and making sure everyone's in line, and he's getting back, and just like that's what you have to do. And Lomax has carried this sort of bad attitude with him, for a while now. And you get a chance, you get a clean start, you get a chance to be a leader. You played for New South Wales, won a series. Like, you have to now step up and be better. And that's not happening. And yeah, but the Eels, man, I got them 8-1 to finish last.
it's looking really good right now.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break, come back and rip into GPT KO.
Ooh.
All right, so Malice in the Palace 3.0. You said you haven't looked at any news today, so this is completely new to you. The Pistons and the Timberwolves got into a fracas in their game overnight or this morning, depending on where in the world you are. Yeah, fight. They had a brawl, but you can't call it a brawl anymore because there's just a lot of pushing and shoving and
forearms go in the face and stuff like that these days.
Yeah, a little bit like that. Yeah. But it made me think about the Pistons are always in this stuff, and it's Isaiah Stewart. He is a dude that loves to have a bit of a biff, and it just casts every time this happens, and it's always with Detroit. Then you're always getting that stuff in the news cycle about the Malice in the Palace and Ron Artest and all that. So I thought, what better way to merge in our bracket here? Make sure our audio's on. Ron Artest and Isaiah Stewart. what better way to do this basketball themed GPT KO than to get into these guys? Now, let me bring this one. All right. Who's in the next bracket? GPT wants to know. Earlier today, in the NBA game between the Detroit Pistons and Minnesota Timberwolves, things got heated and a small fracas broke out between the players. Isaiah Stewart from the Pistons was again involved, as he always is with this stuff. Cast my memory back to the malice in the palace with Ron Artest and how this would be a great matchup for our next GPT KO bout. You ready, Poss?
I'm ready.
Let's hit it.
Hit it.
What do we got? GPT. Ron Artest. Meta World Peace versus Isaiah Stewart. Mayhem Reloaded. We're not just revisiting history, we're throwing it into the octagon with two of the most volatile enforcers the NBA has seen. One was the architect of chaos in the original Malice. The other is a modern day magnet for mayhem. Whoa!
Wow. So
no
good.
refs, no suspensions, just fists, fury, and flashbacks. All right. Tail of the tape. Ron Artest, 6'7", 260 or 118 kg, pure chaos in a jersey. Defensive beast, elbows like sledgehammers, and absolutely no chill when provoked. Oh, that seems like very 2024. No chill. Swished his name to Meta World Peace, but the hands never forgot. Oh.
Wow.
Isaiah Stewart, the dynamite. 6'8", 113 kg, brick wall with a chip on his shoulder. Known for charging through teammates, coaches, and security if you even think about disrespecting him. Still early in his career, but already building a highlight reel of beef.
Wow.
Oh, get him to the butcher. The dude's got some beef. All right. Raw power. Both are built like tanks, but Artest has that I've seen things energy.
He's scarred. He's been scarred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stewart's strong, no doubt. But is he unhinged veteran strong?
Wow.
Aggression. Stewart brings the fire, but Artest brings the full inferno. 1 minute he's chill, the next he's climbing into the stands. You can't train for unpredictability like that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Experiencing the chaos. Ron Artest didn't just survive the original Malice, he thrived in it. Tingling.
Wow.
Stewart might be a wild card, but Artest invented the playbook. Well, I think this is really pointing to only one result.
Yeah, right. The scarred veteran.
Yeah.
The guy with the most psychological problems.
Exactly. It's violent. It's messy. There are tech fouls and injections before the bell even rings. Stewart charges early. Bulldozers Artest into the cage, but Ron's been here before. Ron. He soaks it up, lands a sneaky elbow, and then unleashes the rage. Ron Artest via knockout, the first knockout of the bracket, round 2.
Nah,
bang.
No way. Wasn't it Didn't Volandes knock out?
I think it was a TKO.
Ah, okay.
We can go back after this.
Yeah.
The original architect of NBA chaos proves once again you don't start beef with somebody who's already finished it twice.
Wow. Boom.
Wow. The bracket's
That's the
shaping
fight you
up
want
to
to
be
see so far.
absolutely unhinged. Shall we drop a mid-tourney bracket update next? No, GPT. You stick to what you are told to do. We got this covered.
Yeah. It's starting to work, that whole trying to prompt us into telling us what it wants to do. I'm a bit frightened. That's how it's slowly going to take over the world. If you watch these conspiracy theory stuff, that exact sentence sums it up. All of a sudden, ChatGPT starts telling you what to write in ChatGPT, and it takes over. It's insane.
Well, we could see an Artest versus Cherry Evans duel, depending what happens in the next round. That'd be very interesting. Poor little Cheza.
Poor little Cheza.
Yeah.
Gonna get squashed, mate. Gonna be like the end of The end of the summer are just absolutely squashed with cherries all over the ground, mate.
Oh.
He'd be in big trouble.
Well,
I don't know
Des,
if
wraps
anyone
us.
beats. I don't know if anybody beats our test in this bracket.
Oh, you
If
know,
if we if we're
someone's
betting
smart.
men, do you think
He's the
my
favourite.
money's on our test already now? He's got to be the favorite.
He has to be the
He's
favourite.
got issues. He's got strength. He's raw. He's tough.
But there's
Whew.
still 4 more battles where we can plug in
Mm,
some people. So maybe we need
yeah.
to even up the bracket with somebody as ruthless as what our test is, so we have a good
Or more
final with it.
psycho.
Yeah, have to think about that.
It seemed.
Anyone out there who knows who should be in that spot or these spots that are remaining, hit us up. Let us know.
Yeah.
Who we should put in. All right, Postapha, thanks for today, buddy. Good chat.
Thank you. Good chat.
Don't forget to head over to bets.com.au. Check out all the game previews. Tuck Sport Takes, Sports Best Jez. Send us out, buddy.
Just remember. I don't know if you should say just remember, but hang with us and stay ahead of the game.